Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to start off this video by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Makakudash. I want to give double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone who grew well, and grace and peace to you elect around the four winds, believing and pushing this truth in all sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your houses. This is your fellow servant, Rakair from the GMS Orlando camp. All right, tonight's lesson is going to be entitled, The Strong Man is No Longer Bound Up. All right, the strong man is no longer bound up. All right, tonight I want to go into this video that one of the big Akim sent me, the brother Shaquat Parab from the Virginia camp. He sent me this earlier today. And it's basically, as Jake is going into how Esau systematically destroyed, our nation by removing the discipline from the household, from removing the discipline from the Israelite household and giving the children power to rule over their parents, which is prophecy, which is a part of prophecy, which is a part of what the scriptures tell us, and they also bound up the strong man so that he can no longer, lead his household, which is exactly what the scriptures tell us as well, but now here in these latter days, the strong man is no longer bound up because the Lord is raising up his remnant. All right, those men, all right, the 144,000 men, all right, who will not bow their knee down to Baal. All right, those men who are going to stand up against the workers of iniquity. All right, those men who are going to stand in great boldness, all right, before the faces such as have afflicted him and made no account of their labors. All right, Lord willing, we're that number. All right, the strong men of our nation are no longer bound up. The strong men of our nation are being raised up here in these latter days, man. All right, the men that you see out in the highways and byways week in and week out are prophesying the 100% truth, starting with our elders, apostles of Great Millstone on down, and men with likewise doctrine. All right, these are the strong men, all right, being raised back up here in these latter days through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right, the strong man is no longer bound up. All right, the Lord has given us the power to break these strongholds, man. All right, before we play that video, let's get this in 2 Corinthians chapter 10. All right, and this is the beauty about this truth, man, because, when you look at it, our nation is destroyed completely. Destroyed completely. Without the hedge of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, without the covering and the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, there's no way possible that brothers will be able to break the strongholds that have been placed upon our people at all. We'll be forever bound, mentally, spiritually, physically. All right, to Babylon the Great, to wickedness. But through the Spirit, man, the Lord restored. He left a remnant, all right, who was foretold, who was preordained, predestined to break those strongholds, man, all right, to break those strongholds and to fight for the Lord, all right, for his return, his dominion. But this is 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 4. It says, "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Heavenly Father to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of the Heavenly Father, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of a Mashiach." All right, and through the Spirit, man, we casting down these imaginations, we casting down these strongholds. All right, and the strong man being bound up is a stronghold. All right, discipline not being within the Israelite family is a stronghold. All right, you have a lot of Israelites who nowadays believe that they're supposed to be their children's friends. They're supposed to be their children's equals, when that's not the case, man. Or you have to conquer a child, man. You have to bring up a child in discipline so that when he's older, he doesn't stray from the way. He doesn't stray from that way of discipline, all right, and lead off into wicked ideologies or wicked imagination. Or he'll constantly keep those ways that he's been taught since a child. It says that in the book of Proverbs, man. Train a child in the way that he should go. Roughly paraphrasing, man. All right, children need discipline. All right, and we're seeing that right now through the Spirit, what the Lord is doing with his men. All right, he's disciplining us daily, putting us through strains, putting us through constraints, all right, keeping us on the straight path, man, so that when the time comes, we don't veer from the straight path. We don't veer from the mindset that's being embedded within us, man. We don't veer from the mindset of righteousness, from the mindset of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. We keep that same path. But in order to do that, it takes discipline, man. You got to discipline the child. You got to correct him constantly. When he goes off, look, this is where you went off. It's a punishment for that. All right, there's consequences to your actions. All right, the wrong actions at that. You know, and that's what the Lord is showing us through the Spirit, man. You know, which is why part of the reason why I wanted to do this video, because when this Jake was speaking, you know, you can put the parallels together, man. You know, once Esau removed the discipline from the households, the family structure went to hell, man. Likewise, in the spirit, once discipline left our nation went to hell, man. That's why that's why discipline is needed, man. And that's exactly what the Lord is doing here in these latter days, man. But let's play this video. Now, this is an older Jake, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, you got to bear with him. But you see what the video is entitled, OG Percy, How the System Doing Our Kids and Stand Out. All right, let's play a little bit of this.
So how do they get to the penitentiaries? How they start in the household? They take the discipline at the house. How they take the discipline at the house? They take the spankings at the house. You know what I'm saying? The whippings, the discipline. He hit me. He touched me. Daddy whooped me. Look, I got a scar on me. Call here. Well, next time you get a scar on you, you come through here. You call my number and you let us know that you got a scar on you. Where they start at? They start at the houses. How do they target that?
Just like Jake did that with Esau, you know, running to Esau for some type of solace from the discipline of their parents. You know, Jake did that with other gods. You know, our people ran to other gods and other idols for some type of solace from the discipline of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, which ultimately led to our destruction.
Houses, they target the school. They tell the school to target the children. How they target them? Through their counselors. What happened? The principal learned it. You got to spank it at the house. That's why, you know, teachers are told at the schoolhouse, put them on alert. You know, anybody come in, you know, black eye, look like they've been abused, you know, report that to the principal, the counselor, you know, so and they go start visiting. Yeah, start at school. Start at the house, take the whoopings out. You know, say stuff that this how they feel, this how they get the youngsters. This how they get the youngsters. And once the youngsters find out, oh, we got a little power. What's our power? Shit, you know, mom, if she hit us, I got that card. Shit, what card? Nigga over there like, what card? Yeah, you know, the man gave me a card, said, if mama whoop us like other kids. No shit, y'all, listen to me, this real shit. The man gave me a card and said, mama whoop us like that again. I call him with this number right here and they'll come and get him.
Yeah.
What? And guess what? Mama know it. Mama know it. Mama, that's why she ain't been whooping on us for a couple of weeks. You remember when you did such and such? She ain't do nothing to you, did she? Nah, you know, yeah. You know what? Now the kids know they got a little leeway.
Feel like they got a little power.
Yeah, got a little power. And one thing the system know about children, kids will be kids. Kids will make mistakes.
That's exactly why the Lord, you know, gave us a standard. You know, that's exactly why the Lord gave us the standard of discipline, man. You know, having discipline within our household and having discipline within our nation. Because when you take that discipline away, there's a false sense of power within those who shouldn't have the ideology of power. Kids, youngins. All right, when kids have that ideology that they have power, this is what you get. You get a whole bunch of reckless niggas who crash out, man. This is the culture that's been created by Esau Edom. All right, you look at Jake from 13 years old up, man, they crashing out. Because they have this false sense of power. They have this false this false ideology that they can't be touched, man. Like they Superman. And it's because judgment is slack in this place, man. Discipline is a non-factor in this place. Let me get this in Sirach. Well, matter of fact, let me get this. And I want to start off the lesson with this. This is Mark chapter 3 and verse 27. It says, no man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he will first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house. You can't rob a strong man's house without binding him up first. Elsewise, you're gonna get met with that fist, man. You're gonna get met with that strength. So in order to spoil a strong man's house, you gotta bind him up. You got to bind them up. You got to get them out the way. And that's exactly what Esau Edom did to the men of our nation. They got them out the way. We want to take the Israelite family, so we got to get the Israelite man out of the household. Get him out the way. The next plan of attack is to get his children. Once you get the children, you have the mother under control. And once you have the children, you have the next generation under control, man. Now they're gonna crash out for you instead of following the ways of their fathers. This is what happened, man. This is what happened. And this is what happened to our people as a whole, as a nation, by following after these other gods, man. We removed the strong man out of our household. That strong man being Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, which made precedence for these other idols, these other ideologies to come and fester within our nation and destroy us from the inside out, man. This is exactly what happened. But through the Spirit, man, the Lord's raising back up those strong men. All right, he's raising up those strong men who are going to stand in the household, man, who are going to stand for the nation, all right, who are going to stand for the Lord. All right. But let's get this in Sirach, or Ecclesiastes chapter 30. And I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, he that loveth his son causeth him oft to feel the rod, that he may have joy of him in the end, man. All right. And when you love your son, you're going to constantly chastise him. All right, if you love your son, you're gonna constantly chastise him. Why? Because you want to see him do right. You want to see him do good. You want to see him do better than you. Likewise, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, when we go off, that's why we feel it. When we make a mistake, that's why we feel it, because the Lord wants us to do the right thing, man. The Lord wants to see us walk the right path. He wants to see us, and the scriptures say that it is the Lord's pleasure to give us the kingdom, man. Roughly paraphrasing, the Lord wants to see us in our glory. The Lord wants to see us, all right, inhabiting righteousness. He wants to see his son's dominion on the earth. So therefore, man, he chastises us, man. He gives us, though, he causes us off to feel that rod. Because correction and discipline is needful for children, man. And when we come into this truth, we've been reborn again, correct? Pursuant to John the 3rd chapter. All right, we've been reborn again. So we essentially growing back up in this truth. And as we grow up, we receiving these chastisements. We're receiving the discipline that we didn't receive in the world. We're receiving the discipline that wasn't in our households, man. Even if you had a mother and father, they wasn't following after the ways of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And if they did, you are a blessed case. But nevertheless, for the majority of us, man, we didn't grow up in a household that followed the ways of the Heavenly Father, man. We grew up in a household, even if you did have your father and your mother in your house, to where they was following the standard of Esau Edom. All right, they was on a crash dummy mission too. But now through the Spirit, we're receiving the proper discipline, all right, in the proper way. The ways of life, the ways of righteousness, all right, the ways of the fruits of life, man. It's like you, man. I'm getting excited ahead of myself, man. All right, we're receiving true discipline now. This is why it's important, man, to receive this correction. All right, every single thing that we go through on this side of life is for our betterment, man. Like it says in Romans the 8th chapter, all things work to the good of them that love the Heavenly Father. All right. It says, he that chastiseth his son shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintance. Why? Because when you chastise your son, and your son is receiving correction, he's receiving discipline, or he's going up in that right way, he's applying himself, he's growing, he's exceptional in everything that he does, he's excellent in everything that he does because of that correction that he's been receiving from a child. Amongst his father's acquaintance, his father gonna brag like, hey, look, that's my son right there. Yeah, he doing this thing, young man. He got his shit together, man. He's exceptional. I can't complain. Likewise, Heavenly Father with the elect. All right, the Lord is up there. Hey, that's my son right there. Yeah, you see him? Yeah, Satan tempting him, but he going through it, man. He receiving correction, but he muscled through it. Yeah, that's my son right there, man. He's taking on this yoke. He's taking on the burden, man. All right, and continuing to walk, man. He's continuing. All right, he's fighting for my name. He's fighting for my son's name. Yeah, that's him. All right, it says, He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy. All right. And when you teach your son, you grieve the enemy, because what the enemy want to see is your son crashing out. He wants to see the children, all right, your children, dummies, man, crash dummies. But when you teach your son, you grieve the enemy. Why? Because your son now grows up, all right, with knowledge, man, with wisdom on who he is, who his enemies are, how to move in the earth, who his God is, what the name of his God is, what the will of his power is. You know, now he grows up with the proper tools, all right, to be a man. He grows up with the proper tools to forward a nation, which is not what the enemy wants to see. It says, and before his friends, he shall rejoice of him. It says, though his father died, yet he is as though he were not dead. For he have left one behind him that is like himself. All right. And the Lord has left behind 144,000 men. All right. Of the nation of Israel, and 1/3 of innumerable multitude that is like him. That is like him. It's like the Father is still in the earth. It says, while he lived, he saw and rejoiced in him. And when he died, he was not sorrowful. He left behind him an avenger against his enemies, and one that shall requite kindness to his friends. He that maketh too much of his son shall bind up his wounds, and his bowels shall be troubled at every cry. And horse not broken becometh headstrong, and a child left to himself will be willful. All right, and that's exactly what we see. All right, with the children of our nation. All right, they haven't been disciplined. You know, they've been left to themselves, which has caused them to be willful. You can't tell a young Jake nothing. You can't tell him nothing, man, because they willful. They've been left to themselves, their own devices. And the devices of our hearts are pure foolishness, pure wickedness. Read Jeremiah 17:9. All right, the heart of man is wicked, man. Who can know it? That's why every single sense and every single part of a man has to be trained up in a proper way, including his mind, including his spirit. Yeah, you can train up a man physically. You know, he'll be physically fit, but he's still a crash dummy because his mind is in la la land. His mind is in the ghetto. You could train up a man to have the outward appearance of sophistication, of righteousness, but inwardly he's filthy, man. And that's what really counts. All right, in order to keep up that outwardly appearance, that inward man got to be straight. And that's a lesson that we're learning the hard way. We've had to learn the hard way here in these latter days. Is that the inward man must be perfect first before the outward man can receive that glory. But it says, conquer thy child, and he will make thee afraid. He shall make thee afraid. Play with him, and he shall bring thee heaviness. Laugh not with him, lest thou have sorrow with him, and lest thou gnash thy teeth at the end. Give him no liberty in his youth, and wink not at his follies. All right, and that's exactly what the Lord is doing for his elect here in these latter days. All right, he's giving us no liberty. All right, he's not winking at our follies. He's correcting us. He's chastising us. All right, like sons, like it says in Hebrews the 12th chapter. It says, bow down his neck while he is young. Beat him on the sides while he is a child, lest he wax stubborn and be disobedient unto thee, and so bring sorrow to thine heart. Chastise thy son and hold him to labor, lest his lewd behavior be an offense to thee. All right. And the Lord is holding us to our labor. All right. The Lord is holding us to this labor of love, just feeding his sheep. All right. But let me see. Let me play a little bit more of this video.
And guess what we're going to do? We're going to capitalize off their first mistake. I guarantee you this, Diamond. I guarantee you that I'll run this down to the whole system, the whole world, so we can educate.
Let me skip through this because Jake is talking about some nonsense.
Some horrible mistakes. And the folks are capitalizing off their mistake. Oh, we're in the building. Here in the box. The box has open, y'all. Yeah. And they're capitalizing off these youngsters' mistakes, off their first mistake. I got a son, goddamn, he got 15 years off his first mistake.
Let me see.
All right, now that we done got them to know that they got a little power in the house, let's get in there. We get the old men out the way and bring up made them, man, goddamn. But guess what? That's how the system get them. That's how they design to keep them. That's how they get the number. That's how we need to run it up. That's how we get the old men out the way and bring the young men in. How do we do it? All right, now that we done got them to know that they got a little power in the house, let's get in their heads. Let's get in their heads. How we gonna get in their heads? Let's get in their music. Once we get in their music, we can get in their drugs. Once we get in their drugs and in their head, nigga, we got them. They will make them mistakes. Shit,
And that's exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened, man. All right. The enemy got into Jake's head through the music, and the music taught him to do all types of degeneracy. That's why it says in Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, that the daughters of music shall be brought low. All right, this the music that our people listen to, the television that our people watch, the schooling that they receive, the doctrines that they are pushed upon them through the society, all right, have all led them to this degenerate culture, man. This culture of fuck ups, man. And every single time our people fuck up, Esau is right there to scoop them up. Well, that ain't happening no more through the spirit, man. All right, the Lord is raising up men who are going to beat this system, who have been preordained to beat this way of life, man. To overcome the music, the philosophies, this world, the principalities of this world, man, and be victorious. Yeah, the Lord has preordained men like that in the earth today that are going to break and cast down these strongholds and not look back. And those very same men that have been preordained to do so are standing up right now through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Right now, around the four corners of the globe. Preaching in the same name, coming in the same name of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Alright? But if you want to watch a little bit more of this video, you can. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to get that part. You know, just a little, impromptu lesson. You know, when this is edifying unto your elect. Alright? This is Job chapter 40 and verse 7. It says, gird up now thy loins like a man. I will demand of thee and declare thou unto me. All right, and right now the Lord is demanding men, all right, to stand up. All right, the scriptures pose a question in the book of Psalms, the 94th chapter and the 16th verse. It says, who will rise up for me against the evildoers, and who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity? All right, and the answer to that question is the men. All right, the men whom the Lord has given this testimony to. All right, the men whom the Lord has stirred up the spirit within, man. All right, the men in whom have been preordained, all right, to overcome and to conquer this flesh in this world, man. That's who's going to stand for the Lord. All right, those who are girding up themselves right now in the time of liberty. All right, girding up themselves right now while the Lord has been making these calls. Those who have been answering the call to the best of their ability. That's who. And right now it's time to gird up ourselves like men. All right, because the Lord is going to demand an answer of us. Are we going to serve the Lord, or are we going to serve Baal? Are we going to serve Esau? Choose you this day whom you're going to serve. And the biggest question, the biggest test of that question is going to be when the MOTB hit the earth. It's that digital ooh, all right, to mark who your master is going to be. If you take that digital ooh, that RFID radio frequency identification device, you marking Esau Edom as your master, and you his perpetual slave. But if you receive that tawad, that mark of exemption, all right, that mark of Yahweh that comes from Yahweh Shem Yahushai, all right, and wait on him to sustain you, all right, then you marking the Lord as your savior, man. All right, he's gonna come and deliver his elect. But let me see, let's get this. Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 8, it says, remember this and show yourselves men. Bring it again to mind, O you transgressors. All right, and remember this, man. All right, remember how the enemy tried to do us, and remember how the Lord allowed us to cast down that stronghold. Remember that and show yourselves men. It's a reason why we receive this truth. It's a reason why we are where we are today. It's a reason why the Lord is continuing to allow us to grow in wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and faith. It's a reason. It's a reason why we're gaining experience right now, because the Lord is raising up those men. All right? He's raising up those men, those conquerors that we read about on a daily basis. They're being raised up right now. And these strongholds, all right, that the enemy tried to place on our people, they ain't gonna work for too much longer, man. All right, the strong man is no longer bound up. We've been freed. All right, what does the scripture say in the book of Galatians? You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. The truth shall make you free, roughly paraphrasing, man. All right, and these bonds, these chains, these mental, spiritual chains have been loosed through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. All right, the strong man is no longer bound up. We ain't bound up no more, man. Not mentally, not spiritually. We've been freed and put under the yoke of Yahushua, which is true freedom. You know, with that being said, that's all I have for tonight. Lord, want to edify unto you elect. Shalom. Stay up.